Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should just review the minutes. Yeah. Okay, we've got a chance to read, well, we don't have the public hearing on the 21st, April 21st.
So I did send Robin
Blessing or something.
yes. So the vote for voting on the articles, I was already making copies, so I was not in here. So
Okay.
I did not vote, so it should be a 5-0 vote on both of those.
All right. Okay, hang on. So Article 1 and 2?
Yep. Article 2 and 3.
Article 2 and 3.
Yes,
It's
5 and
5.
1.
Okay.
Articles 2 and 3 should be a 5 and 0.
Okay, got it.
Because I was in that, yeah. Yeah, and then, these would be changed. When it sees any errors or anything, I'll make a motion to accept minutes for April 21st, 2025.
I'll second.
Christine, do you remember any of that took minutes for the company? Because remember Sierra had the card vote down?
Yeah, I was just thinking, because I remember asking, like, who's doing the meeting minutes?
I'm thinking that we could find it, so she could go back to.
I'll check with Sierra, but I know the video is on YouTube, so I can go back to it from there.
Okay.
I'll check with her. But I started watching it and I didn't see anybody doing that, so.
I remember, like, people writing, but I think they were just doing, like, personal notes. I don't think anybody, like, formally.
No, I don't think anyone did. It was unexpected for Sierra to break down and not show up. so-
Yeah.
Yeah, she showed up at the, like, end.
Yeah.
And we were in a different location, so that threw me off.
Just hold on. Move on to the school budget.
So I have a question. I don't know if it was answered at the school meeting. I wasn't able to show. They're not having summer school this year. Why are we not able to do summer school this year? Do you?
We were just questioning the summer school stuff too, so.
I wasn't aware that we're not doing summer school. I don't, Heather, were you?
You haven't
No.
heard anything about it?
No.
When I was told they didn't know, and I was at the school for my son's evaluation, and I was told because he needs summer school, and they are only going to have forget what it's called, but basically it's where the kids just go in that need certain services. So it's like a quarter of the time that he would normally get. Like he would usually get like 3 days a week of summer school. It would be like 8 to 1 or something like that. Now it's going to be like a fraction of that. But I was just curious to know as to why, and then why we didn't take the good opportunity of those ESSER funds that were lost to utilize that? Because I know ESSER funds went to it in the past.
I don't know, the ESSER funds were exhausted. I think that, not exhausted, sorry, they timed to use them. They were, had to be done by a certain amount of time.
Yeah, you had to have like said, like, we're gonna use it for this or that, but I don't know, I just, once again,
I
you
don't
know,
think you could forward launch them for tuition now this far out. I don't know if that's something that, there were a lot of restrictions around that, from what I was told, but all of those remain for, I know I'm doing, and I don't know, maybe for people.
but I know ESSER funds have been used in the past for summer school. So it just would have been nice if that could have been done. But, I mean,
We
kids
can
are,
find out what the reasoning behind it was, but it was
Yeah.
not discussed at the meeting.
okay. But it would just be, you know, because once again, the kids are missing out, and it's a huge thing for any kid that's got special ed services to miss out on summer school. That's the potential for regression, and then the cost for the following year, and the cost of more need of more special education. So, if that could be answered, if not, I could 91A.
We will get your answer.
So, on 22, 1292, 18 cents of student bills. What is there 18 cents on it? What page on it? This is wrong.
Oh, the budgeted 18 cents?
Yeah. I don't understand why 18 cents was budgeted.
A drop of gas?
Yeah, I mean, who knows, I don't know, I'll get to find out, and Kathy wasn't here today, so she would be the one who would know.
Because I mean, that's budgeted. That's not just what we spent, that's budgeted, right? So 18 cents budgeted. Seems like something.
Yeah.
Or I wonder if it was like a line that should have been zero, but then, like if it's an Excel type of a thing where if it's auto-populated.
So when is the voting going to take place? Is that 27?
No, that's the deliberative.
That we're deliberating? So we're not voting on it that night?
Correct. Well, it's the
Deliberative, just like,
regular deliberative session for the warrant
When
article.
would the voting be?
June 25th, hold on.
I believe it has to be the same timeline as regular voting.
It's on a
So
different
however,
page.
whatever the period is between deliberative.
So the voting is Wednesday, June 25th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Middleton Elementary School.
June 25th?
Yes.
Yes, I understand. I have not seen anything posted or anything out there on the deliberative.
I know it's posted on the school, right outside the doors of the main entrance. That was as of, what?
A good majority of people in town don't.
No, I understand that. I'm just letting you know it is posted there. I'd have to see where else it's posted, but it is posted there.
You get it up on the town website or something, Middleton _ New Hampshire, something, so more people in town can see it. We can, Dan could even put it up on the sign out here for the voting and stuff.
Yeah, because anybody who doesn't have kids or grandkids.
Right. Exactly, I mean, I only know because of going to the meeting, being selected, but.
And who am I emailing that to get it on the website? Who am I emailing it to?
You would have
Kim?
to put on that on the website, yeah, I do, Pam, at the selectman's office, the bookkeeper, SSDK.
She can put it on the calendar, the town calendar.
Right.
Tim usually posts things
Yeah.
on the front page of the website.
You could ask Tim to post it. And then, if you wanted it on the sign up here, you can send it to the highway agent. So we can get the word out a little bit better.
lines that have had no money taken out, is that because they're not taken out till the end of the year or they haven't been used? Because I know there's certain things that aren't paid for until like the end. Some stuff is like just automatically paid in the beginning of the year, some stuff's paid at the end.
So like instructional improvement.
And some of it's like over the course of time.
So where this is all federal grants, I mean, it's handled a little bit differently than the standard budget line, so we'd have to find out from Kathy what the time frame is for posting of the federal funds. Just to make you aware, she is out of the office until next Tuesday, so it will be a delay in finding responses to these questions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Last summer, Tracy and Kathy had asked for a breakdown of the school budget, of every line. And we've never received that. And Christina and I have asked for it as well, and we still have not received that. I realized the town one, when we asked for the town, it was over 400 pages. And we had it emailed to us. It's a basically electronic quick report. We still would like to be able to get that. And Robin, if I could have that added to the minutes that we're requesting it again.
How come you guys went so over on the legal line? Was it because of the
Yes.
teachers and union stuff or?
Yes, it was the CBA.
Um, it is the,
Are you on the white sheet now?
yeah, I'm on the white sheet now. It was like the 1.69, 1200,
Near the bottom of the first page.
first page.
Okay, so this one under the regular items, I believe, is the collective bargaining agreement and other things that they have to sometimes have legal deal with in the regular course of business. The other legal is on page 3, and that's under education. I'm going to say that that's for the special education, legal actions that involve the special education.
And so you went over on that one too.
Yep.
So if it had to do with special education and it wasn't something that was like, I don't want to say prepared for, but like it came up unexpected, like, you know, somebody moved in town, needs services, then you had to go back and forth legally, that, can you guys take it out of one of the capital reserve fund?
I don't know the answer to that. Then you want to know if the legal fees for special education can come out of capital reserve?
Well, there is, I think it's Cacao Capital Reserve, but it's for the special ed. And that's supposed to be used for, you know, things like that come up that are not expected and you're not able to budget for because you don't know what's going to happen.
My understanding is that that probably should be going for the students and not the defense of the school, but I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it could be, but I mean, either way, either way, it's gonna take away from the kids. You know, money spent not directly on the kids is being taken away from the kids. Is there any prediction or better prediction since the hearing of how you guys are looking financially and where you're gonna potentially land?
I don't quote me on this because I still need to start with that. My understanding is we will meet budget. Whether or not we're going to be able to put anything into capital reserves as we had initially always done in the past is questionable at this point.
So keep in mind that figure for budget balance on page 5 the $506,000 tuition payment has not been taken out of that yet.
Yeah, that would be great.
So, am I correct in hearing that at the meeting the other night, that there was a discussion about raises for firefighters, paras? Another raise for them?
There was a request, well, there was a request made, and we said we wanted to have sort of a staffing assessment to see where we are for staffing and where we need to be looking and going. There were no votes on any raises at all, but that was a request made, which happens, periodically. And when paras and bus drivers are not included in raises and they're looking at
Well, they-
districts there. So the bus drivers are not on Wentworth's bus pay schedule. They got raises, our bus drivers did.
Our bus drivers did get raises last year.
Right, it wasn't at the level they were getting. I thought they weren't, and that was a question we needed to have answered by Kathy, whether they did or didn't, and to what rate they were getting a raise, if they did, what that was. But they're not on the same pay scale. They're, I think they're meeting.
Well, the budget that we voted on, that budget had a 4% increase for everybody that was non-union. But during deliberation, you voted,
I don't think the bus drivers are included because they're part-time.
well,
So
that wage, I was told that the wage line had a 4% increase for everybody who was non-union.
Can I speak?
Yeah.
So I have in my notes that the bus drivers receive the same percentage of support staff increases when it's budgeted for an increase. The issue at hand is one of the bus drivers brought it up to the chair, that there's concerns that they're a flat rate at MES no matter what the experience is. And that comparison to Governor Wentworth District is that if you have less than 3 years, you get one. If you have more than 3 years, you get one pay. So the bus driver who brought up the concern was concerned that they have a flat rate no matter how many years they've been driving the bus, no matter how much experience they have. And that was their concern with the pay. But as Heather stated, we decided not to make any decisions. I believe in August, we're going to be doing that staff assessment, and nothing will be decided on, as we decided last week, nothing will be decided on until the new budget season. So there won't be we're not voting on a random increase for the bus drivers at this time. Everything will be looked at budget season.
Thank you.
So can we just clarify what everybody else got there? Because I specifically had asked, because it was one of the things that was not clear during our hearing, was what was the percentage increase for the non-union? And then I was told at the school board meeting following that it was a 4%. So I'm just curious to know.
The percentage increase for non-union members that's in our projection for next year's budget.
What we voted on.
What was voted on?
Because I was told it was 4% at the school board meeting that followed the hearing. I think that was like March 3rd, school board meeting.
We'll have to actually confirm
I don't know. I don't think it ever made the meeting minutes because anytime I've ever asked a question, my questions never make the meeting minutes there, so. Are you guys looking at or working on any grants right now?
I'm not aware.
So the SAU, where we pay them to do our SAU services, are they actively searching for grants?
Yes, they take care of that for us.
Is there anybody that oversees that they're like really doing their due diligence, or are we just trusting them?
I don't know who specifically at the SAU does that job. I
I don't see or hear very often that we get grants for this school. So I just hope that they're doing their due diligence and not just looking at us as like free, easy money, because we are contracted and, you know, they get paid to do their job, so it's not according to, you know, how good they do it. It's just we sign an agreement with them. Don't want to sound distrusting, but I mean, I do look both ways before I cross a one-way street, so much faith I have in people. And I would dare say that we're probably missing out on a lot of opportunities. So I just want to make sure that the SAU is actually working for us and helping us fund our school for the kids.
How is the school looking as far as repairs and maintenance? You know, is it way over? Do you know anything important coming up that's gonna have to be repaired or replaced?
Nothing that we're immediately aware of. There was some issues with, I believe it was the heating, either the heating or the AC. I think it was the heating, earlier this winter, and that added to some expenses that were unexpected. But nothing drastic has been brought to our attention that needs to be replaced or have upcoming repairs.
For the health insurance, is there a reason why we're over on that? Was it somebody, did you guys not budget enough?
We budgeted based on what we had for the staffing last year, so if they change, either the staffing changes or they decide to opt in and they want before, you know, those.
You guys don't leave a buffer, like a,
I know, I was told that is not proper accounting principles to leave buffers. That they even had attempted in the past to leave a one student buffer, and they were told that's absolutely not so.
I mean, have a one-student buffer.
we used to
I
have,
think it was the town who said we're not gonna do that, and they cut it out previously.
well,
so
because
they let it
previously,
out.
well, the buffer for the kids, I mean, I think we had at one point like a 3 or 4
We
student
did,
buffer.
yeah.
And then they reined it back to, I think, 1 or 2 for each.
Kathy told me when she started, she had put in one, and it had to be removed.
For the insurance.
No, that it was from the town voting, that one piece got taken out of the line item budget. She
I
told
know
me,
we used to buffer, like, the students.
well, she does that in other districts as well, so she was surprised that.
Oh, I'm talking about health insurance, because we're over on our health insurance line. So I didn't know if, you know, if you have, let's say, 10 people that qualify for health insurance, but only 8 take it, I would like to think that you would buffer for 1, so if one of those, or one of the 2 decided that they needed it.
That's exactly what mine
How many plans do they have to choose from? I know that they're not able to, I know they have to, how do I say this? When choosing health insurance plans for like municipal or teachers, there's only certain plans that they can choose from, correct? Are you guys looking at all of the plan options?
was. Kathy does that.
Okay, so as a school board, are you guys going behind and looking at those numbers and options?
I was in charge of budget process after, so.
Do you know where you were?
No, that was not part of our budget talks.
I'm just saying, because, I mean, you potentially, because I know that this happened with the town, where the town, we switched insurance plans because there was a more affordable one, and it saved the town and, I don't know if it was the town and the employees, or, but it saved the taxpayers money. I mean, especially where we pay in so much of their insurance. It would be, I would hope that you guys would ask for that information too. Because ultimately, it's the school board and then the decision to have a say into it.
We're going to be having at our next meeting, a training with the New Hampshire School Board Association that's going to go over what the school board members' rights, responsibilities, functions are, what we can do, what we must do, what we should stay away from, what's not our responsibility, and I think that's going to be really helpful for everyone, so come, please, you're welcome. We're going to open it up to the public, ask these questions, because I think it's really important that everyone hear all the same information, so we all know what is the school board told, what are we supposed to be doing, is that level of managing the budget that we're supposed to be doing? I don't know, I want to hear it from them.
When is this?
That's at our next school meeting, next school board meeting.
The beach.
I would like to think you'd be able to have a little bit of a say in it, because it would be nice to be able to say to the SA, to Kathy and the SAU or whoever, to say like, hey, look, we can't afford a $30,000 family plan for the teachers, but there's this $25,000 plan. If they just automatically go and choose the higher one, us as townspeople can go ahead and we can vote in that the teachers start paying, or the full-time employees start paying a higher percentage.
I know that in the past when we've asked those questions, Kathy will tell us, yes, I went to 3 different people, these were the rates, and we went with the best rate, you know? So those are the sort of questions that we ask. Do we actually have her send us the proofs for every single one? I don't think so. But again, we might look.
Well, we possibly.
Exactly.
Oh.
I think I'm going to the school budget. For the town budget, I did send out a list of answers to questions that were asked us.
Thanks for that.
I get a copy of that one, I will get you a pass. Yep.
This one.
Yeah.
We have gotten things moving on the new fire truck. And that will be being picked up, I believe, sometime in
I like that you guys put the little notes in the column.
Roxanne did that for us, yes.
Thank you very much. Hey, are we expected to continue to go over the ZBA legal? It's kind of cutting into things.
Yeah, there's, the hearing coming up.
What is that on?
It is
September.
4193-040. It's on page 2.
The warrant, like, what is that, how does that work? There's more money voted into the warrant. I don't know.
Yeah, there was.
Are we coming to an end with all of it, or are we getting close?
I have no idea at this point, I can't see much.
That's maybe not too much, that's.
Many.
Yeah, the budget's just starting to get done, so, much right
And then we have gotten new functioning numbers for the fire department. So, to pull on new forms and stuff,
I have a note that the hearing for Middleton Workforce Housing is on June 30th. It got extended because both sides needed more time for discovery. Originally, it was supposed to be sooner than that, so that's the latest. So I guess it depends on what happens there.
Thank you, I couldn't remember
Yeah.
what the date was.
Yeah, me neither, that's what I
But
thought.
it keeps getting changed, so.
Yeah, it's changed a couple times.
Where, is that in Concord, or, okay. And I think after they meet, I think they have, they meaning like the state has like 30 days or something like that. So once that hearing's done, it's like, wait and see. Because that's what happened the last time. It was like a
Yeah.
long pause.
And you don't really know where it'll go from there, depending on the outcome.
Yeah. But I think it's like, I think they have like the 30 days to,
Yeah. Hopefully it won't go anywhere soon.
so Kate Buzzard did like a little solar presentation through, Robin, do you remember what the name of that solar
Nope, but I can find it.
place? It was a solar, I think it was like something soul or soul. It was a funky name. And I had asked her about like potential, if they help out with grants with municipal and schools. So if I find out that they could potentially help the town out with maybe a grant to help with solar, to help maybe offset some of the costs and stuff. I'm noticing a lot more. I was down in Mass when I brought Ben to Boston. A lot of state and municipal buildings and police stations, they're all like kind of getting on the solar thing. So I would assume that it helps with the cost of running stuff.
I had heard something before, I became stuck in somebody in town wanting to do this solar farm, but I haven't heard anything more on it.
There's,
Yeah.
yeah, there is somebody who I heard, they haven't come towards the planning board yet, but it's the property up behind your development. Yeah, and then on the other side. But it's, we haven't heard anything official yet.
Yeah, I just heard talk about it and then nothing, so I didn't know what was going on with it.
Yeah, I heard that like 2 months ago or something like that, and then I was waiting for something to get onto an agenda, and
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything.
and I know we talked about it.
And I know back when I was selectman, there was somebody else, they wanted to do a solar farm.
Rangewood, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, it was on video.
Yeah, and there was,
Tanya and.
yeah,
So smart.
thank you.
Does the DBA and the select board discuss sort of those things? Because there are, I know in like larger cities, whenever they do that kind of development, or anything like that, there are particular requirements that are placed on those companies so that it offsets the taxes to the town, and those are opportunities for the town to lower taxes that don't involve necessarily cutting budgets or funding from other sources.
I think it depends on, so the one that was proposed to us, or it was discussed to us when I was on the select board a few years ago, there was kind of like no benefit, it wasn't going to benefit us at all. It was basically they were going to utilize the land and do it. And I think the property owner backed out, or it didn't work out and nothing came of it, because that was one of my big questions is this going to benefit us in any way? Even if they offer to help power the municipal building and offset the electrical cost for us there, or the school, or anything like that. And basically there was no advantage. There was no benefit other than the fact that that land and space was going to be utilized for panels and not people.
And they were asking for less tax pay too.
Yeah.
Big time.
Because, and it was like kind of the way that they were going to install everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be installed, so they couldn't be assessed as structures, and
Yeah,
if I
because it
remember.
also went from 5 acres to 18 because of the change down in Concord.
Yeah,
They were asking for more acreage and stuff, but it's like,
yeah.
It would be good though if there were standards and practices that the board and.
I know before I came on as a selectman, it was being discussed for whatever one that they were talking about.
Well, not even just that, but any people that come before you, so there's no concern about selective enforcement. Like, we're gonna make this person pay this and do this, and we're gonna make this person do this, and make them jump through these hoops, like some sort of uniformity about how these.
Well, we do have a solar ordinance, and Soul Smart, did I say that right? They helped us, they reviewed our ordinance, and then they made some other like suggestions and recommendations. So that's another thing that we'll like relook at and re-revise, and then it will go on the ballot. Once we have all of our hearings, go through our whole long process, it will be something that we'll have to then get voted on to revise. But I think as far as like charging and fees and stuff, that's all on the select board.
Can I ask where we are on the waste management?
So Costello was supposed to come in Monday night, last Monday, the second hearing, and he did not show up because he had a medical emergency. So we talked waste management the week before, and Costello will be here at our next meeting. This is no meeting next Monday,
How
but,
is it, when's it coming?
I believe it's in June.
Yeah, we're kind of close.
And how do you guys have like that in case they don't come through?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I have not heard much there, I've been wondering myself. It's a good question.
Yes.
Has Waste Management offered us any kind of like bidding system, kind of like Rochester and all that?
So Waste Management was, they came in, they would do the bins. He said he could come back and show us what a bin looked like, good sized. We would basically be renting the bins.
So we wouldn't have to buy them like some towns? Sometimes.
We'd be paying for them every month, basically.
Yeah, I forget how much exactly he said, they were $70 or something like that.
But they would take care of your repairs.
But
and all that stuff.
yeah, if it got broken, because that's the way they're going, that if they're not even picking up trash for because it's too much on their workers.
Yeah.
They don't have
As long as they're
enough
workers'
So
workers.
they're
comp.
going to bins,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't have enough workers to do it, and so, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be good in lieu of pickup for the whole town.
I'm sorry?
Would that be good in lieu of pickup for the whole town?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Well,
like Rochester
it
does.
would be garbage bins, they would come around with the trucks, but use the arm on the truck to pick up the bins instead of.
They don't mean like a central, I was
No.
thinking like,
No.
oh my goodness, how many bins would you need for the whole
No.
town?
Oh, no, it's just like what Rochester does, where everybody in Rochester gets the two bins, they get their recycle bin and then their trash bin.
But he couldn't give us a quote yet because he needed to know, the size of the town, but approximately for the last few years, how much we accumulated and all
Tonnage.
that stuff, and tonnage, and, I think it was 3 years. So that information has been sent to him, I have not heard.
Would they offer the bulk, like we always done, or, because I know I talked to Mike about it, Mike said that he had another, he was looking into doing like a thing where they bring their containers and you can go and pay,
Oh,
but I don't know if that was like an option. I know he was saying that he wanted to do it, because I know like Milton does something like that.
yeah. I believe he said they would still do the bulk, but I don't remember exactly what the details are.
And he recommended, he said it'd be up to the town, but he recommended going up to, did he say $20 for stickers, or what is it?
He said something, I
I think what the amount
something.
was. He says, I think you're charging too low for
Yeah,
stickers. Just in my opinion, he said, they do have some trucks with front loader type thing that then dump, you know, the big bin in front that dump into that. He did say the price would be going up every year. Absolutely, he guarantee it will be going up every year, no matter what they come up with for a price. And that people can have more than one bin. You'd have to pay an additional rental for that.
And they talk about size too, there's like a 50 and a,
No, he only had one size.
One size?
Yeah.
Those bins are pretty big.
I'm talking about a large size too, it's a lot of trash.
I wasn't able to attend that meeting, but I did have a question the week before when they were supposed to come on private roads. Like,
Yeah, because I know the private roads have an issue, because I used to get phone calls
like
about
in
that.
the winter, they can't come down our road, Bridge Road.
The Deer Run.
Yeah.
Their run, they have
Deer
an
Run.
issue because of the hill.
Yeah, but they can't go down Pine Ridge Road,
Mhm.
and a few other ones. So we bring all the trash to the front of the road so they can just pull in, grab the trash. So.
Now you gotta lay your barrels.
I had
questioned my trash up there in my truck, and I'm like,
I had questioned if they could have just gotten a dumpster for you guys.
right, but then you have a dumpster, and then you have
Everybody,
else.
and that's what
Because,
they had
We
said.
have stuff on my road in the corner right now, so nobody on my roads, we'll just put it there. And it's like, okay, thanks, you know, so great.
Yeah.
But,
That June meeting,
Yeah.
that's actually a really fun.
well, yeah, I mentioned the woman who's supposed to come too. But then coming from the city, people steal those barrels all the time.
Yeah, when we lived in Rochester, we used to go for breakfast in the morning, and John would get the little freed Rochester paper, and he used to read me the police log.
Mhm.
They're like a little old couple,
So
he'd read
what
it to me.
happens then?
But it was like, every other one was like, toter stolen, toter
Right,
stolen.
now I get a barrel, do I gotta pay for that barrel, because somebody stole my barrel? They're gonna go around like, in the city, they used to come around like twice a year, roll up to your house, pull the bin out, scan it to make sure it was actually your bin. And if it wasn't your bin.
Get a cinder block and just chain it.
Right, but are they gonna, like, all of a sudden someone has 4 of them and my barrel's missing?
I'd be marking my barrel.
But can you mark them, we're renting them?
Well, they have numbers on them, so as long as you know what the number is.
Right, but how big
Well-
is the number?
Yeah. I don't
Get a little ear tag.
Or that big, you know what I mean, so. I know we're not in the city anymore, but.
My concern is we have raccoons, bear, squirrels.
Those-
That chew ours all to pieces.
Those bins are pretty,
He said that, but I've
Pretty tough.
still seen and heard of them being chewed up.
we keep ours in our garage,
I don't
so.
have a garage, but I got a pretty big
trash can and I've got a big hole in the top from squirrels.
Oh, we have a bear closet on ours, and we have one of the big, like, oh, not as big as theirs, but like the one size down, and you can get it on people that's
Yeah.
almost as big as those.
The $100 ones, yeah.
Big claw,
Yeah.
right through it from a bear. So we actually had to build an enclosure to hold them until we can get them out of there.
And then you gotta worry about how close they are to the road and the plow going by.
Yeah.
If you get some plow, I'm not saying plow. I'm saying plow.
They're
Goes
right.
by, you know, and like we have the mailboxes, somebody hit my mailbox and now we just destroyed.
I feel really lucky because I have not ever had my mailbox taken out.
Mailbox, so.
I haven't had when we had waste management years ago, they used to take out, we went through like, I don't know, a trash barrel every year because they had like anger management issues or something. Like, we lost a
never
lid
touched
because
my
of one. They
mailbox.
would. I really think that they threw one of our barrels like in the thing. I think they just did a like, because I was like, where did my barrel go? I found my lid and then I couldn't find the barrel. And then there was one where I couldn't find my lid, but I found the barrel.
I think those are things that the people in town like to ask, they say, what happens with these things? And then.
I'd almost rather buy my
If
barrel.
they reject stuff, how are they gonna know what you put in that barrel? I know they have a camera that goes, whoa, but it's a guy gotta climb out of the truck to get the TV that he just threw in the back of that truck.
It's really bad.
No,
Yeah,
you know,
it's good questions. I mean.
or you're
we
gonna charge
need
more
to
because of the TV in that thing.
Well, I think if they have a camera and they see a TV going, they should note what the address is
Well, how, you know.
and send that person a Dear John letter saying, you owe us.
Is it possible to do another month, like an extend for a period of time?
I'm not
like
sure
this?
that's what I'm wondering right now, where it's not our fault that they didn't come last week, too. He never even messaged or anything.
Yeah, the behavior seems to indicate a lack of desire to participate with our
Well,
children in the future, so I don't
and
want to leave us high on that.
This happened before we got Pinard. And that last waste management thing, they did a little number and played the tango and we lost the tango and we ended up paying severely for it,
I remember, but
so.
right now, we just have to wait and see what happens, I guess. Hopefully he will show up at the next meeting and we can get something settled quick between these companies and figure it out, because we don't have a lot of time.
It would also be nice to see that if Waste Management did offer a thing where we could either rent the bin or buy the bin. Because if they said to us, like, hey, if you buy the bin, it's a little cheaper, whatever, if I have to go and,
He did say something about buying the bin, but, you know.
He
would
talked
have to
about
pay for it.
that if they still own the bins, that they would take care of it, like the wheel bus drop it. They have a truck that goes around whenever there's something that's broken.
Yes.
It comes and
repair.
fixes it, you know, and stuff, you know, like they do with the carts at the grocery store. They got that, that company that comes around and fixes them right
Yeah, if you're
there.
renting them, then you just get another one if somebody's stealing yours. You know, you're renting it and they owe you one because you're paying for one. So that would might be.
well, yeah, versus
Provide
saying like,
protections for the residents.
but you know how a lot of those warranties are, if you don't have it, you're gonna have to pay for it, but if it's, you know, in 12 pieces, they'll repair it for free.
Just report, yeah.
You know,
Did you get fingerprints?
you know.
I think you talked about it having a buffer because we don't know who's going to move it in and everything, but even considering that, if a lot was stolen and had to replace, we could guarantee a gigantic increase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if they cover for
Yeah.
that person, ultimately the town, you know, the taxpayers will end up.
You're gonna pay for it up front or in the end. Nothing is free. If it sounds like a great deal, it's not.
And it's vitally, it's one of the very crucial services, you know,
Mm-hmm,
along
It is.
plowing the highways.
yeah. Nobody wants trash
and then,
everywhere.
It's bad
those are
enough
the
when,
things that we need.
the bear or the raccoons or something decide to hit our neighborhood and leave the trash. Yes, the crows, the squirrels.
Well, even those little squirrels are little,
They're nasty little things, yes, and they leave it everywhere as well, so. I can't imagine if I had to sit around for a while.
I know, and you know, the holiday's coming up next weekend and all the seasonals are back and they're gonna have their first hurrah. Good times in the
Yeah.
Lake District.
And then they leave and the trash cans sit up there and the bears come and whatever.
I know. I'm just glad we have it on Tuesday and not on Friday, because that's a long time to wait.
It is, yes, absolutely.
That should be looked into too, whoever takes over.
They said, they did say if Waste Management took over, would want to do the whole town on one day
Yeah.
instead of splitting it up.
I like Tuesday or Monday because,
Well, too many holidays fall on a Monday, though.
yeah, this is true.
That's true, yeah. Tuesday's worked out well. I wasn't sure about it at first, but it's worked out well for us.
I just look at it like in the Lake District because we have all those weekenders.
Yeah.
They'll put their trash on the curb on like a Sunday.
Yeah.
And if it has to wait until Friday, it's like
Tuesdays.
you're walking up and down your street, picking up everybody's trash. You know what everybody's eating for the weekend. It's kind of gross.
Are you done with the town budget one? I'm good. Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, I thank you, Roxanne, for
Yeah.
putting in those little notes and stuff. It'd be great if the school could like note on the side, like that little, it's kind of, I know, like it's kind of hard because it's so,
I wish the school budget was done the same way as the town because it's a lot easier to understand. But hopefully if we can get some new numbers in and get Kathy in here that it's pointed out.
I also want to get to more of the budget, so it'd be nice like having
Yes.
little spaces, and this is a contract.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
the
we
thing.
know we're going to the vendor and say, is that contracted? So that's, you know,
Yes.
I like to know what's contracted and what's not, and then I
That's
like
it.
to know like
Yeah.
what they pay at the end of the year, so we're not like questioning like, why have you spent any money out of this line?
It's absolutely a huge help.
Because then it also saves a lot of time of us, like looking at it and be like, what did we say 4 months ago?
And then we're asking the same questions over and over
Yeah,
and still don't remember. It's just too many lines.
too many months and we're getting too old to remember everything.
Exactly.
So also on the agenda is the June and July meeting discussion.
Sierra wanted to talk about that, I think.
Oh, Sierra,
Having
yeah.
meetings.
Okay, all right, so,
I know she had mentioned skipping it because she's got a daughter graduating and stuff. I kind of think the June meeting is important because of the school.
yeah.
The school is ending their budget season.
Will the school have things wrapped up in information for us?
Not until July.
They won't have to go till the end of June.
Yeah, so,
Do you have a meeting in July for the school?
Yeah, we don't get to break that.
There's no plan to cancel any meetings at this time.
Yeah, we can do too often in the summer, so I wasn't sure.
I'm hoping, well, it's the first week of July, I only just have to 2 weeks to update figures. I don't know how to think about that based on the voting.
because I think traditionally, don't we end up getting all the information from the school, like their end of year stuff at that August meeting? And then we start asking about like, what are the numbers looking for September? So, I mean, I don't, either way, I mean, if everybody wants to be here for June, I'm like,
I'll go through it.
I'll go either way, but I mean, if they're not gonna have their numbers wrapped up and we're just gonna look at like, you know, an updated version of this, I mean, it kind of doesn't hurt to give us the 2 months to kind of reset, and then not worrying about a quorum. I mean, I'll be here either way.
Do you think it needs to be posted to fill those seats?
Yeah, I
It's
tried
been empty since last.
recruiting one person for one of them. I gotta follow up with them. I forgot to message
Sarah
him.
mentioned somebody she,
Yeah.
I could go either way. I have a meeting at least once a week, if not twice a week, then. Well, me being here, not being here, I'll find another reason to be. Another meeting will come up. Anybody else have any?
I'm fine either way too. This is basically what Sierra would like to do, so.
Yeah, so we already know what her vote is. Planning board, RSA-wise, we have to have a meeting once a month. Is there anything for the, like, budget? Because
At the last meeting, Sierra said it's quarterly
Yeah.
for budget.
oh, okay. So, I mean, if we don't have to, like, I know, like, even the planning board, so when our next meeting, if for some reason we don't have a quorum, we have to have another meeting within that month. So I just want to make sure, but if it has to only be quarterly, then I think we're good. If we skip them. So I'll make a motion that we take June and July off.
I'll second.
Can we maybe just get an email of the budget
Yes.
those 2 months?
Mhm.
And then that way we can kind of look, and then if we have questions, we can maybe,
Yeah, that would be good.
Mhm.
Track of things.
and then I guess I'll ask now, so in August, like our famous questions that we always ask the school, like every single year, is how many kids per grade?
Yes.
What are the other popular questions that we always ask?
How many teachers?
Yeah.
Yep,
Being any teachers or missing any teachers?
or vacancies.
Yeah. Buses, bus drivers. Do you remember half of those?
Paraprofessionals, it would be very nice to know, because I know you guys are down more now, because there has been 1 or 2 vacancies since.
The count on the kids is a big thing. How many per class or how many per year?
And we usually like to know like the breakdown too. Because our smallest class is leaving the elementary.
Yeah. And those are all questions we'll be asking, just to give you a heads up. Because we ask them every beginning of the school year, and every beginning of the school year, we hear,
I'm gonna cross my fingers and Kathy's on vacation the week of our August budget meeting, so I can have her come and, because she'll be able to not only do those, but I think, you know.
Well, I mean, and even if she's not there, I would like to think that you'd be able to email her in advance to say, you know, in preparation for the budget meeting.
yeah, those interesting questions that we,
Yeah. Like, if that's always unnecessary, it's the follow-ups, when you guys want to know more detail, that we just don't, you know, I don't make sure we have to answer those.
yeah, these are simple ones, it's just really things to have it handy for those meetings.
Why don't you throw on the grants
Yes.
from now to then? If they have researched any,
Yeah,
applied for any,
you know.
or gained any. Because I knew you asked that last, or at a different time.
I mean, especially with everything becoming tighter and tighter, I think we have to start looking at other options for money.
And parents' choice is good, so now we have to do it.
So the parents' choice, what is,
The parents get to choose their representatives, they don't, they're not,
Did that pass?
I believe it did.
And then heard whether I had it or not.
so a kid from Rochester could come here?
If we have
If we have room, yeah.
But our transportation still someplace else, and we have to go to the hospital. What about transportation? They have to do that, correct?
I think I feel like we would be responsible, just like we are now if we have to send them out of district.
I mean, this is kind of all, because I have no idea how this is finishing out.
Yeah.
No, I thought I had read that the parents had to cover transportation, someplace else, but I don't know for sure if that's right or not. Because I read so many things, I don't remember.
Well, I'm sure what kind of reasons.
So I can say, oh, my kid goes, that's it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
has to be done.
I would imagine that has some backbone for it. But yeah, they've changed things a lot.
I mean, we already have, like, where the third grade going into fourth grade, there's 2 classes already.
Well, in the kindergarten class is a very large class. It's like 21 kids, and then it'll be at least 22 when they go to first grade. So that's a class growth.
Fourth going into fifth, if they get one more kid, they're gonna have to split them up as well. So like, there's a lot of those grades.
That's why we like to have the counts so we know how close we are.
And then we can help project for budget. And have you guys come out with a plan of what happens? Because there's no more classrooms. So like if you have to split and have, 2 fifth grade classrooms and then 2 fourth grade classrooms and then 2 first grade
Lots of
classrooms.
things discussed, and until we know exactly where we're gonna be, I don't think there was no plan for each one of those. So we're not gonna put a plan in place until we know we have one for this particular situation. One of the things that I would like to do is some strategic planning long term in terms of looking at where we are and what we could do and need to do, so that when we're looking at, okay, we need to put money into sort of improvements, we can make sure we're prioritizing that appropriately if we're looking at expanding school to accommodate any new people in town.
So if I'm not mistaken, I thought you guys had to have like, I don't want to call it an emergency plan, but ultimately it's an emergency plan of like, what do we do if we need to expand? And that could very easily happen because there's potentially like 5 houses going up on Pinkham, and, there's other houses and building going on. So theoretically, we could get another 20 kids depending on family size and school needs. Crystal had told us that there was like a whole meeting where it was going to be discussed of, do we go down the trailer road or do we split the elementary school and potentially like send some of the kids out to a different town? But she said that there
I
was,
was at that meeting, but not on the board at the time.
Yeah.
I just happened to be there, and I know lots of things were discussed. They were discussing putting kids in trailers, they were discussing putting fifth grade into another school.
but she said that you guys had to have like an action plan put in place of like, if this happens, this is what we're gonna go. But that's the way she explained it to us. I just wanted to know like if that's true and what's the plan.
I don't know what came with that, I just know there was a lot of discussion about different options, and I don't know if there was ever any plans voted on or enacted on, but I didn't attend the meeting.
So Nicole was on the board then.
I wasn't on the board for that.
Now, Scott was still on, and so was Ken at that time. That was,
Sorry, I was thinking we were on there.
That's okay.
That was only like a few months back when she told us this. Because I want to say it was probably like early fall, because I was asking all of my usual like beginning of the school year questions. And then she had made a comment about the budget and like basically, well, hold on tight because, it's going up for this reason, that reason, and the other. And then we have to have an action plan in case the numbers go up. Also, the contract for Huggins is supposed to be up. So what is the plan for that? Because
I don't know, but
We would-
part of the budget discussion.
Yeah, the initial plan is to hire a nurse after next school year. So it's through next school year, and then we would be responsible for hiring our own school nurse.
So for the 26, 27 school year, we would have to hire somebody?
Correct.
have you guys looked into potentially extending out the contract with Huggins? Because of cost, I mean, the cost of,
Huggins is pulling the contract, it's not us.
Are
They're
you-
they're not offering that anymore.
are you gonna consider maybe like going to like Wentworth Douglas or HCA?
And as the SAU office, but the last time that we talked about it, the plan was, from Caroline, was that we were going to post, all the schools in the district were going to post for nurses. They had hoped that the nurses would stay who were there, but they're planning on most of them not because the towns won't be able to match the same salary.
Yeah, I mean, an hourly pay for an RN, I mean, that's gonna cost us quite a bit of money.
Is this gonna be a full-time position or part-time?
Full-time.
Yeah, because they have to be there for the whole day.
What I wasn't sure.
So, I mean, you're looking at well, a lot of money.
I'll be sorry.
It is written into the CBA to amend it to include that position as well. I know that had come up. So it would be a unionized position when it is posted.
All right, I hope you guys get your thinking caps on because that's a lot of money. Because an RN is gonna want at least $40 to $50 an hour up around here, if not more. If they have any amount of experience, just look at the pay scales for what the nurses are getting, and they've had to go up. I mean, it's gonna cost quite a bit. I would hope that you guys reach out to like Wentworth Douglas, especially where they're expanding, and see if you can rent a nurse. Because that's,
This is when the breakdown,
I'd make it a priority because you just.
And I
ask
think
for a
you
whole
have
bunch,
to.
You know, what am I just ask for? And now a year in, it's gonna be a whole bunch more, plus a whole bunch more. And
or maybe consider hiring a paramedic over an RN, because a paramedic is like half the cost of an RN. I know some school districts, Rochester had LNAs in the school, and then they were like overseen by like a higher licensing person. But I mean, even hiring a paramedic would be a hell of a lot cheaper for us. And it could potentially even be more beneficial because paramedics have more like trauma training. I mean, unless you're lucky and you get like an old school burnt out ER nurse. But I mean, the only big thing that a school nurse or a paramedic would have to learn is the immunization schedule to make sure that the kids are all vaccinated on time, which is extremely easy to do. And I mean, that's something that an RN's not even trained in. They learn after the fact once they get out into the workforce, depending on what they work in. But, I mean, you're looking at least adding about 150,000 or better. And there's a huge nursing shortage nationwide, much less in the state. So nurses are going where the money is. Some of them are driving an hour south and buying new cars to do so. My husband. But just,
it's something that should definitely be looked into. So we'd rather-
and nurses will go where the money is, so. Which is why they'll drive an hour. Oh, wait.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna just say comments first.
No, without voting on the July.
Oh, July, yes, we gotta vote on that.
Attack.
Oh, I motioned, she seconded.
Oh,
Yeah, Christine motion, Nicole
Second.
seconded. We all
Did everybody say all in favor?
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dawn. Anything else?
John?
Now I'll make a motion to adjourn.
7:41.
I'll second. All in favor? I seconded.
Steve second.